Friends and family, welcome back. We are so very back. This is Kirk Henderson and Josh Bowe. You are joining us for Pod Mavericks After Dark. We are coming to you live just about 15 minutes after the season opening win by the Dallas Mavericks over the San Antonio Spurs. Josh, how you doing?
Doing okay. We're back. Real game. It was fun to see everyone play, especially after a preseason where everyone was kind of hurt. What more can you ask for? Pretty much a blowout win against a team they should have won. For the most part, a blowout. I know the final score doesn't look like that, but took care of business. Early game. We're recording at 9:17 local time. This is how I want to start the season. Not going to bed late. Mavericks win, so no one's grouchy. Checked every box tonight.
And you know what's fun is the additional fact is we had the first late game on Saturday, which means we'll be okay because we'll survive into Sunday. It was a really really fun first game where you got a full taste of just about every element of what you were looking for from the Mavericks heading into the season. If you have an agenda to get off, the Mavericks game that we just watched gave it to you. So many things happened in that game. I don't really know where to start. Though I think we have to start with the Klay Thompson of it all. Is that fair?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, that's what everyone's going to be talking about. I mean, it was very noticeable. I mean, he was awesome.
He was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Team leading plus 16 in 26 minutes, 6 of 10 from 3, 7 of 13 from the floor. Chipped in 7 rebounds, including 3 on the offensive end, which was hilarious. And then 3 steals. And he was there was a walk-off three-pointer that he hit from the right wing when the game was getting out of control, where Luka passed it to him and turned around and walked away in a similar fashion, like Nick Young after he took that wild-ass 3 that everyone sees on the GIF. I just had a great time watching him. I was, more than anything else, though, I was really happy for him in the sense that he's had his last 5 or 6 basketball outings have been pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I said. I wrote the preview for this game, and I was noticing because we try to keep plugged in with what the fans are feeling, especially the online diehards, because that's most of our audience are the lunatics that want to stay up with us and watch us live. So we want to know what y'all are thinking, and there was definitely some fear and some concern, and I was wondering where is this coming from, because Klay's been great shooting the ball since coming back from his injury the last 3 years. So I'm like, why are people worried about this part? And I realized because it's been 6 months since he's had a good basketball game. Because you think about the last 4 times you got to see Klay spanning 6 months, it was that play-in game where he went 0 for 10 and the Warriors lost, and then the bad preseason games. He was 7 of his last 39 the last 4 times you've seen Klay since April. And that just sticks in your brain, right? Even if you're as rational as you want to be, it's like, wow, he has not played good. I haven't seen him have a good game, since last season. And that just sticks in your head. So it was just good to reassure everyone. Oh yeah, this is the guy that made 39% of his threes the last 3 seasons on 10 attempts per game. And he was absolutely that. I think the things that were I was not worried about his shooting at all. And we can get into the way the Mavericks have incorporated him and used his off-ball gravity and the way he's moving off the ball and how that changes things for the Mavericks offense. We can get into that. But to me, the big thing, because that wasn't a surprise to me. I knew the Mavericks were going to do that. What did surprise me, and again, it's only game 1 against a likely lottery team, was just physically how well he moved. And I think he looked as fresh as he's looked in some time since those injuries. He had 3 steals. Defensively, I thought he was there, and that was the thing. Defensively, how are you going to hold up with Klay, Luka, and Kyrie being your 3 best players, really, or at least 3 of your best 4? And there's defense question marks about all 3 of those guys in certain ways. And tonight they passed it with flying colors. Obviously, the Spurs don't have. Our staffer, Matthew Phillips, in our Slack was the Spurs don't really have a guard with juice that can test the defense of that trio, but they can only play who's in front of them. And played, and he played well, and he looked well, and he moved his feet well, 3 steals. That was the part that jumped out to me.
Well, the other part, and we knew this, but it's also just fun to see, the Mavericks are enormous. So even if Luka and Klay are not particularly mobile, they're each huge.
No.
So Klay at one point, there was a couple of different attempts where Luka was pulling an SGA where he's like sneaking from behind, trying to go for steals. Like that's a big guy to come from your backside to try to swipe the ball. And when Klay's on one and Luka's coming from the other side, even if you're not top-notch defenders, you're still big-bodied individuals. And Matthew's right. This is not the game to really write home about the defense, but you like the effort. And the Mavericks defense as a whole was really spectacular. There was at one point in the game, and because I was paying attention to the box score, at one point in the game, each team had 8 turnovers. The Spurs finished with 19. The Mavericks finished with 9. And I want to say that one was like on an oop to Derek Lively that just got picked away at the last second. So it was.
Yeah, and the Mavericks scored 17 points off those turnovers in a game they won by 11.
That's just pretty fantastic. And all right, so just kind of working our way through the roster, we can talk about different plays and things that happened. The next guy that is worth really writing home about is Derek Lively. Derek Lively came off the bench because Jason Kidd likes trolling us. I think we can talk about more why if it happens during a different point in the regular season, but quite honestly, I don't want to make it a thing. I don't care. The Mavericks got the win. That's what's more important to them. That's what should be more important to us, at least at the moment. We can talk about it more at a point when it matters more. It doesn't matter now. Lively was amazing. 28 minutes, 15, 11, and 6. That's fantastic.
6 assists, by the way, not like steals or blocks.
Yeah, he also had 1 steal. He had no blocks, but his presence at the rim was there all night long. I wonder how many dunks he had because he had 6 made field goals. He had to have had at least 4 dunks.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I was there. I'm not gonna lie. There was like the devil part of my brain that was wondering if you were gonna fire off a classic Kirk Grant tonight. If Gafford started, Lively looked awesome. But Gafford finished a game in a close loss. If that was going to send you over the edge for game 1, but I'm glad you get to pace yourself. We don't have to have that conversation tonight. But yeah, Lively was awesome. Sorry, you look like you were about to say something.
Well, it's hard to know where you want to focus on the Lively thing because there's just so many things that he does that jump off the screen at me that make me so excited. The passing is, particularly from that elbow area, is something the Mavericks are going to have to figure out ways to utilize more and more just because it makes the team almost impossible to guard. We already talked about the Klay Thompson, Luka, Kyrie element of making them hard. But if you had a 4th passer, and I haven't even gotten to PJ, who had some excellent dishes tonight. If you have the ball movement chops that these guys displayed and Derek Lively displayed, they're just going to be able to do different things at different times, and it makes them look like just kind of terrifying. I think my favorite Lively play of the game, though, he challenged Wemby at one point and got his shot thrown back in his face. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I do.
Then Lively doing the thing that you beg young players to do, but it's really hard to get across to younger players, is he hustled back on defense. And what did he do, Josh? Do you remember?
Sorry, go ahead.
He got the steal.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He picked the steal off. So he just hustles, he gets back, he doesn't get in his own feelings, and he makes a play, and he proves why he needs to be out there as much as possible. The dunks are going to become an afterthought to a certain extent, which is ridiculous to say out loud, but that's just sort of the way these things go. He's so impressive in so many different elements, and I think in comparison to Klay and the other Mavericks that didn't, again, you're watching the Mavericks play defense against guys that don't have the best driving skills. Like Jeremy Sohan is constantly out of control. He drives me crazy. I don't think he's very good. That's fine. But Lively got to match up with some pretty functional Spurs bigs. He wasn't always guarding Victor Wembanyama, who had a pretty horrible game, which I'm sure we'll circle back to. Zach Collins is a big guy. And Bassie, they just have some guys that I think throwing up against. I just like seeing his effort. So what else would you like to add about Wemby's game? I'm sorry, but Lively's game.
Yeah, I mean, it was just that complete next step kind of effort where, I think you hit the nail on the head where you were like, I almost don't care about the dunks because we know that it's all the other stuff that he does that just that's what raises the ceiling of the team, and honestly, like his career and like where he can go. Like, yeah, if he turns into the best that he is that Tyson Chandler rim running, rim protecting defensive center archetype, he will be a very successful NBA player for a long time and be an impactful winner. But we both think that there is a little bit more there than just that. Not trying to say that being just that is a bad thing, but he just keeps doing things every time we watch him that we're like, oh, he can do that. Oh, I didn't know he could do that. Okay, let's see if he can do this now. And I think the Mavericks keep experimenting with that. You know, he had the 6 assists. The Mavericks centers as a whole, Gafford and Lively combined for 8 assists, and they both did handle the ball a decent amount at the elbow near the top of the key. And I think the Mavericks got comfortable with that toward the end of last season, kind of got away from it in the playoffs, which you understand because coaches get a little bit more conservative and you want the ball in the hands of your best players more. That'll be something to watch to see if they go back to that more and if they feel like they can trust it more in high leverage situations against the best teams, not just when you're running the score up in the third quarter against the Spurs. But it's still a great development, and it really opens a lot of things up, and they probably feel more comfortable doing it with a Klay, because before, you know, their starting lineup was Luka, Kyrie, Derek Jones Jr., PJ, and then one of the centers. If you give one of the centers the ball, you know, like Luka is improved as an off-the-ball shooter, but really your only off-ball consistent shooter is Kyrie in that lineup. Now you add Klay, you got 2 bona fide off-ball shooters. Kyrie is a little bit better. PJ, you hope that he's a little bit better. I think just replacing Derek Jones Jr. with Klay in that lineup, I think lets the Mavericks feel a little bit more comfortable with their centers holding the ball and running some offense around that, because they just have the personnel to take more advantage of it, because we've seen how good Klay is running around off screens and running off those pin downs and dribble handoffs from his big. We didn't see it tonight because the Spurs didn't really, you know, overplay it that much. But we didn't see that, you know, that nice pocket pass to the center for a dunk, unless I missed one. I apologize. Klay only had 1 assist, but otherwise, you know, it was that I really enjoyed that. And then Lively defensively, no blocks, but the way that he is able to stay floor bound and contest is just well beyond what a 20-year-old center should be. Like, remember the days of like when we were watching JaVale McGee, not even JaVale McGee a couple years ago, the first time the Mavericks brought in JaVale McGee, and when they brought in Willie Cauley-Stein, and they brought in these, you know, even Nerlens Noel to a degree, these athletically gifted centers who would just jump and go for the show-stealing block every single time. And here you've got a guy that's, you know, hasn't even played, you know, he's played what, a total of like 100 NBA games, including the playoffs, and he's already guarding defensively like he's been in the league for 20 years. Like, that was really great to see. You know, you didn't see,
you know how many travels he caused?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Right.
At least what? Like, I noticed at least 2, maybe more. I mean,
I counted 3.
Oh, okay.
2 in the first half, 1 in the second.
Yeah, that's just tremendous stuff. Like, that's just the kind of stuff that's like gets us so giddy about his ceiling.
There was one, I just got to talk about it.
No,
I'm sorry, I just have to talk.
No,
so
go.
Wemby gets him on the left wing, and Wemby basically shakes him like Lively was lost. And Wemby gets out to it was close to the 3-point line. Wemby honestly should have taken the shot at the 3-point line because he shook Lively off him. Then drives, Lively recovers, gets up body to body, a little bit of space. He drives on Lively. Lively sticks with him. He gets about that kind of short corner, about 10 feet in, and Lively just stays. He does a nice little pump fake. Lively does not bite. Wemby falls. Wemby is incredibly balanced for a 7'4" guy. Like, makes Porzingis look like somebody falling over all the time. And it was incredible bit of defense. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it was great. And we can transition that into what the Mavericks did against Wemby. Wemby was what, 5 of 18 from the field. And it felt worse than 5. I'm going to be honest. When I kind of went back and looked at the box score, I was like, he made 5 shots. Like, he had 0 impact on that game offensively. Defensively, he made it impact.
Oh,
he's still that good defensively.
He had 2 makes. So he had 3 makes inside the key. He was 2 of 4 in the restricted area, by the way I'm looking at this. And I'm sorry, bro, you're 7'4". you got to be like 90.
It's the attempt, but the thing is, it's not even the makes; it's the attempts, right?
Mavericks bodied them out of the way.
Yeah, they did, but that's kind of why you do the trade for it's why you have Gafford and Lively, because you basically get 48 minutes of a big beefy. Like there was no time for Wemby. Like there was no moment where it was like, okay, the backup's checked in, let him go. Like just let him go to work. Like, oh, the backup is Derek Lively. And then even if Lively started, okay, the backup is Daniel Gafford. Like there was never an opportunity for him to pick on anyone on the roster. And even if they tried to do some switches with some screens, like PJ Washington has shown that he can body him up pretty well. He did it last season. I don't know if he had an opportunity to do it tonight. But the Mavericks didn't let him get any catches, really a lot of catches clean inside the rim. Thought they switched up their coverages. I thought they did a good job going from digging in, doubling, playing straight up. I thought they mixed it up pretty well. And I was very encouraged by like the team effort defensively. They did kind of give up some, preseason, some first game rust, backdoor cuts, some bad drives. The Spurs scored 44 points in the paint, and they did shoot like 70% at the rim, which is, the Mavericks, after they made the trades last season, that was their calling card, was basically teams were shooting like 50% at the rim against them. So they had, it wasn't a perfect game, but you still saw that kind of connectivity. You saw that size advantage, which you've already mentioned multiple times. And just the things that they can clean up is, I think, things that was like Luka not playing in the preseason, like gave up a backdoor cut and gave up some plays here and there, but he also got some plays back. So I think everyone in that played had like a defensive moment or two, which was cool. And yeah, overall the defense was great. The bigs were great. And really the only knock you could say on this game was the offense in the first half. But I mean, again, they didn't have a dress rehearsal. Like the first half was so much, oh, this looks like a group of guys that did not play at all together in the preseason.
That's right. Yeah. Well, okay. We talked about Wemby. I want to go to a quick break here, but I need to read some things to you before we go to a quick break. So these are some Victor Wembanyama nicknames that I'm seeing upon the wire. We have Paris Pachulia. We have Croissant Chris Mim and Bon Bonner. God, I love making fun of players, even though he's obviously outstanding. Just a good way to go with things. All right, guys, so we're probably a little past the halfway point. I want to try to keep these to a half hour because we do a secondary live show, which you guys should be aware of, which I will host tonight, and I'm basically going to be on video for like 4 straight hours tonight. Too much Kirk in your face, but whatever. For those of you who are listening for the first time in audio stream, please go ahead and subscribe to Pod Maverick. We do this after every game, and then I try to host a secondary show after every game. We're going to do that a lot more this year. It's a lot of fun. Those of you who are watching on the YouTube stream, if you haven't subscribed to the show, please go ahead and do so. I know you have a lot of options in pre and post game shows. Josh and I would appreciate your support, and you can subscribe to our show and then also click the bell to get notified as to when we go live. We're going to insert some ads here, and then Josh and I will be right back. One day I'll figure out a better way to do that transition than leaving like 5 seconds of blank space, but I am an amateur and we are just having a good time. Gosh, where to next? I think we got to mention Jaden Hardy. Jaden Hardy kept the Mavericks, kept them. I don't see you kept them afloat in a game that they were up by 20 points, but the first half was so grimy. And his sort of injection of energy, he only ended up with, I think, 1 assist, maybe 2. What does he have here?
2.
Sorry. 2? Okay, well, he had some really stellar playmaking this game, and it didn't get rewarded in the box score. But for a guy that as of the summer before last, he went to Summer League and after his rookie year and still looked utterly lost, his playmaking has been great. The shot is going to go. I mean, there's one by Rolex in the chat said Hardy's been working on his shot. I mean, he was a scorer in high school. That was why he was the number 2 player in the nation. He's really good from the wings when he shoots from threes. It's some of the goofy mid-range stuff that he's got to work out of his game. That's fine. In terms of what we've talked about going back to the offseason, the season is too long to rely on, okay, these are 7 guys. You need people to step up. Dante Exum was supposed to be that first guard off the bench. I think we all thought Grimes was maybe going to be the guy, and I think Grimes was actually the first guy off the bench tonight. But Hardy made a case for himself and in limit. I guess he played a pretty good number of minutes tonight. He ended up with 20 minutes. He scored 11 points, had 2 helpers, and 2 turnovers. That is what it is. I was just impressed with his game. What did you think?
Yeah, me too. And I guess we shouldn't be surprised that in the first half, when everyone kind of looked like they were 2 feet in mud for the most part on offense, that the one guy that played a lot in the preseason and got up a lot of shots in the preseason was the one guy ready to go in the first half when everyone else was still trying to find their sea legs offensively. So that probably, I didn't even think about that before the game tipped off. Like that just made a lot of sense. Like him making those threes, like you said, I mean, it kind of saved them because I think the Mavericks probably end up winning this game anyway, but it goes from them needing to dig themselves out of maybe a double-digit deficit at halftime. Like, who knows where the Mavericks would be if he didn't make those threes in the first half. So yeah, he has to be ready. No Dante Exum. He is. I think he was the first. Was he the first guard to check in tonight? I can't remember.
It depends on what if you consider Grimes was first. I'm really positive of that, and it really depends like what you consider Grimes.
Yeah, but I think the big thing: 20 minutes for him, 3 minutes for Spencer Dinwiddie. So I think that goes to show kind of who has that early edge, and I don't think that should be a surprise. Not saying it's a surprise, but you never know when it comes to veterans. Coaches sometimes will lean on the vets. But when the preseason played out the way it did, like obviously if you're picking between Hardy and Dinwiddie, like obviously it was Hardy. Like Hardy looked way better in the preseason. So good to see that preseason performance was rewarded with him getting those crucial first half minutes. Good to see him pay that off by being, a dead on shooter. Like again, the playmaking stuff like is kind of tertiary to him. Like his role on the team, as long as Luka and Kyrie are here and healthy, is he just kind of has to spot up and make shots and then make plays around that space that he's given, which is why I think there's such a drastic difference between how he looks and sometimes in the preseason or summer league versus how he looks in the regular season, because it's such a drastic role change for him.
But I want to give some credit to like the skill level because he would placing passes where guys most need the ball is hard. Like Luka's amazing at it, and I think it's actually really something we're almost taking for granted. But he got Lively for a dunk tonight that was just beautiful, like right in the pocket on the run that allowed him to jam. And then he caught Lively again on like Lively was right below the rim, and Lively just blew the shot. It was just a missed like one of Lively's 2 misses, or maybe he got fouled. But I just want to pay homage to that sort of thing because we've watched off-target passes, and it's pretty. And frankly, as lapsed big men ourselves, how much does it piss you off as a big to get a pass thrown at your knees when you're up here? Like I just liked it. Is all I'm saying.
No. I liked it too, for sure. I think that stuff. Yeah, I wasn't trying to discount it more. More it's just like a bonus. And I think it just changes because we do look at like the preseason stuff and the summer league stuff, and you're like, man, this just looks awful. And then he plays in these he played better. He played better in the NBA finals than he has in either of his 2 summer league appearances.
That's true.
And it's like, wait, how does that happen? And it's I think the role just matters. And like. He just has a good jumper. Like when he's catch and shoot, like it's pretty. It's a good,
It's a pure looking shot. No, I agree.
I think the more he gets to do off ball, the better he looks as a player, and then that allows him to kind of lean more into the on ball stuff, kind of take it at his own pace instead of it being thrust upon him. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes a difference. Feels like
in days gone by, if Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving posted a combined. I think they're 15 of 42.
And we haven't even talked about
them. We've not talked about the 2 best players of the game. That just shows you how well this game went for the rest of the Mavericks. For the fact that we get, because what's 17 plus 25? You'd think I could do math in my head, but I can't. So we're just going to go to the calculator. Yeah, they're 15 of 42. Those 2 shoot, that poorly. The Mavericks usually lose. Instead, they win by double digits. And who should we talk about first?
Luka's game was less surprising. Like he didn't play in the preseason. Like that looked like a dude that did not.
He looked like a guy that didn't play.
Yeah, like we knew I anticipated his shot looking off, and he did get better as the game went on. I think he shot a little bit better in the second half than he did the first half. He definitely made more threes in the second half, I'm pretty sure. Because the first half he was 0 of 5 from 3. So in the second half he was 4 of 6 from 3, 5 of like the second half very much looked like him. 5 of 11 from the floor, 4 of 6 from 3, 19 points, 4 assists, did have 3 turnovers, 6
How
rebounds.
many threes did he hit in a row? Because he was 0 for 6 at one point, I feel like. And then he finished.
He probably hit like 2 or
11.
3. Yeah, he finished 4 of 11. So
Ugh.
yeah, he finished well. Kyrie was very deferential tonight. Like
sort of. He got 17 shots up.
He did, but there were moments when
Luka good shots.
Yeah, I don't think he didn't take a lot of bad shots tonight. And he doesn't normally take a ton of bad shots. Right. So I mean, but Kyrie had some good moments defensively. He had a block and 2 steals. I mean, everyone had a steal. It felt like they had 9 steals, 5 blocks.
That was the key. That was the key to last season.
Yeah. And the playoff run. Like, remember we talked about how athletically, like the big difference between the bad season in 2023 when they missed the playoffs and then the finals run is like they went from a team that never got splash defensive plays to always getting them. And I think there was some fear with you replace Derrick Jones Jr. for some guys that maybe aren't as athletic as him. Are you still going to have that athletic edge that you had in the playoffs? And one game, obviously, against the Spurs lottery team, we'll see what it looks like against a good team. But so far, so good. So that made a difference. And then, Luka was fine. He had 8 assists. He had 4 turnovers. Like he played through the struggles, which was nice. I thought, less about the stat sheet. I felt like he saved most of his ref bitching to off-ball to dead ball moments.
I didn't notice it. I frankly did not notice it. And I was hosting a playback where I'm watching the game live, and I honestly didn't see anything. And that sort of stuff, and maybe I'm just trained to not see it anymore because it's kind of like background noise, but that's pretty something.
Saved it for mostly dead. Like, he got into the refs like 2 or 3 times. And I know that jumped out to me. And each time he did it, it was when there was a dead ball, like it was out of bounds or a foul call. Like someone got called a foul and the play stopped. So,
well, this is what's so funny. Logan in the chat says, "Give Luka time; he will get better as the season goes on." He had 28, 10, and 8. So.
I know.
What an incredible game for a guy that can get better. Like, Logan's not wrong.
I know. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. So, yeah, he'll be fine. I anticipate Saturday him shooting a lot better from the start. Probably Kyrie too. And that's the beauty of the Klay stuff, right? Is if he is shooting 6 of 10 from 3, like teams are going to finally I don't think Kyrie and Luka have ever felt like teams are like shifting coverage off of them to another player. But if Klay shoots well, that's going to start happening. They're going to see more. They're going to get more space and more room to do stuff.
No, I definitely think that's the case. All right. So what are we? We're almost at the 30-minute mark. Is there anything that's worth closing out on? Closing thoughts? I really liked PJ's passing. He only had 2 assists, but I felt there was more confidence in his drives. That was something I really enjoyed. Also liked his defense on Wemby.
Yeah, I liked his defense. You still want him to have still wondering what's going on with his shot, like 2 of 7 from 3.
It's so funny.
Yeah, because he was so good college, first couple of seasons in the NBA. So I mean, it's one game, so who cares? But Maxi Kleba had a pretty awesome block. Played pretty well. I mean,
he was team high with 18. I said Klay earlier, but I can't read.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And he didn't play in the preseason either, so. Only being 1 of 3 from the field, only 3 points, like whatever. It doesn't
15 minutes of Maxi. Like that's what you want. 12 to 15 minutes of a guy who can eat innings and cannot fuck things up. He did great.
Yeah, there's a big difference between 15 minutes of Maxi.
He's also playing
25 to 30.
Well, that's the key. He was playing the 4 at backup 4, not backup 5 too.
Right. And he was able to roam off ball, which is how he got that sweet block. I don't even know who did he block. I can't remember, but. That was a great. It was a great. Yeah, it was a great. I think it was on Sohan who beat his man back door and probably could have scored if he laid it up, but he wanted to jam it. And Maxey met him at the rim. It was a great.
Well, and
great
what
play.
followed that play was the Luka walkaway pass, and Klay taking like a set shot dribble three, where it was like he had 45 seconds to shoot the thing.
Oh, and by the way, on a set that the Mavs ran a billion times for Tim Hardaway Jr., for everyone in this summer that had only watched the Mavericks in the finals or the Western Conference finals that had to get off their takes that the Mavericks' stagnant offense would be a poor fit for Klay, that clearly didn't see that Tim Hardaway Jr. played 4 of the best years of his life in Dallas. They lived like I can maybe find it tomorrow morning. Like it was the high pick and roll with Lively. As Lively's rim running down, Klay is coming in off him, top of the key. They did that with THJ more times than I can even count. And it looked great. So shocking development that this worked offensively.
No, it's really hard to imagine. Well, the last closing shot that I think I'll take before we get out of here is Grimes and Marshall were 2 of 12 from the floor. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen that often. Those guys connect on a couple more shots. This game becomes a blowout earlier. The Mavericks have a lot of options. If you came into this game feeling confident, you should leave feeling confident. And that's where we head into Saturday playing the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, for sure. That'll be a fun game.
Okay, guys, so I'm going to pause here, and we're going to go to quick shout out to 2 folks who left super chats. Henry, my man Henry, leaving his quick super chat, says Captain Kyrie checking in, and Paul Armstrong saying no THJ LFG. I like that. Guys, thank you so much for your support. We're going to go to our secondary live show where you can join the chat. I'm going to post that the StreamYard link down there in the comments right now so you guys can hop in and get ready. I'm going to post a quick break for an audio thing for me for when I upload the podcast. Those of you who are listening on audio streams, look for the secondary show to pop in your feed sometime on Friday afternoon. If anybody is at all interested, if anybody likes the Playback app, if you're unaware of what it is, I'll be posting links on Twitter. It's a really fun way to watch the game. I did my first kind of test room tonight. Ended up getting 40 people to join the channel, which was fun for me. We're going to have fun with that sort of thing this year. And, guys, really, really glad to be back. Really looking forward to the year. We will talk with everybody on Saturday late at night. Everyone be good and go Mavs. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to your favorite, or maybe second favorite, or third favorite, or maybe not even in your top 5 live show, Mavs Party. This is our secondary show following Josh and I's podcast. If you're listening on an audio stream and you didn't hear the recap show, Josh Bowe and I just talked for about a half hour about the Mavericks win over the San Antonio Spurs, 120-109. This is now our secondary show where you can join and participate. I have posted, for those of you who are listening to the show live, I have posted a link, a StreamYard link, which I am going to go pin right now, and that is how you join. You can join through your phone. You can join from your computer. It's very easy to do. It's very fun. And we will hang out until we're kind of done talking. Do note, I am coming off of a 2-day sickness, so I would like to go to bed, so I don't want to do this forever. Thanks so much for joining us in here. We got, I don't know, looks like we got a pretty good number of folks, at least in here on YouTube. That Twitter number always feels like a bit of a lie, but hey, we're going to have a great time. All right, coming up first is my man, Brian. Brian, what's going on, buddy?
Kirk.
Whoop. I booted you by accident. Didn't mean to.
No problem. Hey, look.
I need a producer.
Hey, look, man, you handled it about as well as Luka did in the first 3 quarters. So we, you know what I mean?
Like, just keep getting up enough shots, something's going to go down.
Hey, look, man, if we are no longer at a basketball-like substance, Mavericks basketball is back. Mavericks basketball is back. Man, how good is it to have Klay Thompson on our team? How cool is that, huh?
I mean, so it's so much fun. And what's more fun is when the announcers were talking about his extremely difficult makes as if they were easy. Like, Reggie Miller, and granted, Reggie's obviously one of the greatest shooters of all time. He talked about the good looks Luka's going to get Klay. Well, one of the ones Klay got was running to his right off an inbounds play where he caught the ball, moving to his right, firing from his right. Like, such a difficult shot.
Like a spinning fade in the corner with a hand in his face.
And it was just like, oh, and Reggie's just talking about it like it's snappy casual. And he's like, yeah, Luka's going to get like him great shots. And I'm like, that was a terrible shot. It was
that wasn't the time to mention that.
It was Klay being awesome. I mean, the kind of shot we're talking about like actually happened the walk-off 3-pointer in the fourth quarter where Klay had to like look around and make sure he wasn't in a Looney Tune to make sure like Wile E. Coyote wasn't going to blow up something beneath him and he falls through a hole. Like, that was amazing.
Yeah, that was the one where like we're talking about the one where Klay like took 10 seconds.
He just like looks around, dribbles, like a free throw.
Yeah, like that was the one where he was like, "Oh, I didn't know it could be this easy."
That's right.
I didn't know I could work this little for an open shot ever.
That's right. It's great stuff,
man. And we were, I was in a playback with Steve and Akayas watching this, and I was yelling the entire time like a madman when they were missing all those shots. And they were like, look, the process is good. They're getting incredible looks.
Yeah.
Incredible looks. Incredible. Every other possession, Klay was wide open, or PJ was wide open, or Kyrie was wide open. And I'm like, I know this is the Spurs, and you've got to temper expectations because this is the Spurs. Just because they got Chris Paul, that does not make them a competent basketball team. Yeah, right? But, dude, the looks they got, if they can get those again, look, man, we just saw that Phoenix team. That defense is Swiss cheese. If we can get those kind of looks against them,
I think Luka might score 60 points that game if he just is going to drive. The way the Suns cannot defend the paint, ooh, brother.
Well, not just that. Like Luka drives, right? If those are hitting, if Lively's touch gets back to even half of what it was in the preseason, where he was missing a bunch of bunnies tonight early on, like the little hook shots over 6'5" dudes, the travel early on when he was inexplicable, sure, whatever.
Yep.
We get those, the Kyrie pull-ups, Klay, even like 70% of what he gave us tonight, right? And Quinn Grimes doesn't come in trying to shoot for his contract in game one, then, brother, we might put 140 on the edge.
I'm here for it because it's going to be a late game. I demand that it be fun.
Yeah, true.
Like I'm I'm viscerally like even if it's a weekend, I'm too old to stay up late. I can't, and I will. I mean, I'm just going to do it at the detriment of my health. So it better be fun. And I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah. One other thing.
Sure.
And I'll keep this quick. Hey, man, we're in games that matter. Jaden Hardy, huh?
Yeah, I was really pleased. I'm not sure if you've heard Josh and I yet, but he was actually our third talking point because he kept things spicy when the Mavericks looked like they were sinking.
In the mud. And he came in the game and he dragged them out with his shooting. Shot making off the catch, shot making off of drives. I was thoroughly impressed with that kid tonight, man. I'm so glad that he performed this way after getting that contract. Those Spencer minutes are gone. Thank the Lord. The Grimes minutes. If it looks more like it did tonight, we're gonna start to see Hardy like eat up some of those too.
Yep.
But I think Quinn will get back right. But
I'm fine. Like him and Najee were 2 of 12. Like if those guys are 5 of 12, this game becomes a blowout in the second quarter. It's just a different feel. So, all right, man. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Yes, sir. Mavs win. Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night. Okay, so I see my man Glenn, my friend Matt, and what looked like a familiar face before he turned his camera off. It says E. Doug's down there in the thing, but I'm not sure that is his correct stage name. I'm pretty sure my man E. Doug's is calling in from the East Coast. And if you guys that are down there at the bottom don't mind, I'm going to bring him on first so he can take his old butt to bed. So because it's staying up late, I did the West Coast thing or East Coast thing for a long time, and I'm seeing a secondary Matt trying to join who does not have his devices connected. If you're listening to the show, try to connect your device. Really helps. All right, my man, what's going on? How you doing?
Hey man, it's been a while.
It has been good to see you. Beard looks great. How are we feeling after game one?
Man, whew, I love it, man. I love it.
I love it too.
The national media, how will Klay work? I mean, come on, guys. We know Luka's the best generator of 3-point looks. We know the gravity Luka has, and we saw it in this game how wide open Klay is. I couldn't imagine the stuff that they're doing in practice for Luka to feel like that in the first game to just be walking back. You know what I'm saying? So they got to be doing some crazy stuff in practice for him to just know that that's an automatic bucket without even watching the release. You know what I'm saying? So
yes,
that's beautiful to see. And other thing is Lively is just, I don't know what they're doing with the bigs, but they're really working on their passing. And Lively, he's just, the strings and how he extends the offense with his passing is going to be really important for us for the rest of the year.
The layers to his game, he's an onion. And this is why I have been arguing with people that I think he has a different, much more potent, not much more potent. I really respect and appreciate Chet Holmgren, but Lively's bigger. And I just, a big that can set screens, dunk the ball, play defense really well, and be maybe your fourth best guy, to me, is more valuable than a center that can shoot threes. And I just feel he's a better fit. Maybe I'm being a shit talker. I like them both, but I think the gap between the two is a lot closer than Oklahoma City fans think and kind of casual NBA fans think. Like, Lively's really good.
He's really good, and he shows up against these bigs, Chet, Wembanyama. Like, he shows up to play, and he holds his own. So, that's good to know that if you really need him in the nitty and gritty, he can really, come through for you. And lastly, and I'm pretty sure you got a lot of people that want to talk. The Grimes contract, I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, I understand you want to bet on yourself, play the season out, especially playing with Luka. But, like, looking from this game, Hardy got his little contract.
Sure.
That kid believe in him. So I don't know if it's going to be a lot of minutes for Grimes like that. So looking back in hindsight, he probably should have took that money and just,
We'll see. It's a long season. And I think he's going to have his moment,
True. I mean, but lastly, it's just, what are you going to do? You're going to double Luka. You're going to double Kyrie. You're going to double Klay. Honestly, it's just pick your poison. It's just pick your poison. And it's good to see Maxey out there healthy because you see the layers that he can bring to our defense once he's out there too. So,
well, and then he took and made a shot.
Yes.
Like, he was 1 for 3. I mean, how many times have we watched the guy pass up shots last year where it's just like, dude, what's going on?
Man, it's going to be a fun year. There's a lot of math content out there. So I'm going to be locked in on everyone to really, get all different point of views. But bring on Phoenix. Bring on
That's
Kevin
right.
Durant, bring on Booker. Let's go.
All right. See you on Saturday. But if you're insane enough to stay up that late, we'll talk soon, okay?
I'll be up. Yeah, man.
All right. Talk to you. Okay. Coming up next is my man Glenn. Then we're going to go 1 Matt and then 2 Matt. Glenn, long time no talk. For those of y'all don't know, I actually got to hang out with Glenn a little bit in Vegas during Summer League. We got to watch, I don't remember what game it was. We had a good time. What's going on, buddy?
We had a blast, and it is great to see you. I've waited so long for this moment.
So, what'd you think?
3 things, maybe 4 things. Number 1, third possession of the game. You remember the third possession of the game for the Mavericks?
No. I was honestly in the first half at my son's football practice watching on my phone.
First possession, Kyrie misses a tray. Second possession, Luka misses a tray. Third possession, they go, you know what? Let's just bring it inside to our 80% shooter and let him get a basket and settle this team down. They dump it into Gafford. Gafford hits a floater. And after that, it was all relaxation. I mean, it was really, I felt like the game was never in doubt after that moment. And it's so great. We have a guy. We have 2 guys that we can do
5 guys, man.
In years past, we just would have kept trying to shoot from the outside and acting frustrated and saying it's going to go down eventually. So I'm thrilled about that. The second thing is that they played like a team that is confident. Like they felt like a number one seed, a team that said, "Yeah, we're a number one seed. We're going to play. We're going to beat these guys." They never felt like there was any kind of a confidence issue. I'm thrilled. You know why I'm thrilled? Because I put the biggest bet of my life by a long way on over 49.5.
Oh yeah, no. I think unless like a nuclear like attack hits the city of Dallas, I think 40. Like I was so baffled by the over under numbers. I know they got to keep things closer together, but they won 50 games last year, so why would they go on? I feel very confused by that sort of stuff. Oh well, more money for you sounds free to me.
Injuries happen. It's probabilities, but I felt like that's a lot greater probability than 50% on that one. And a bunch of people I know were like, really? You're going in that much? Okay, I'm going in with you. So we're all riding and dying with this. 49 to go. Excited there. All right. So my question of the night, I started drinking early on this. I wasn't really paying attention. I opened up a very nice bottle of wine. The defensive play of Grimes and Marshall compared to DJJ from last season. What did you think?
I didn't really notice. I wasn't like by the time it mattered, like the Spurs just don't have enough guys that scare you off of drives and off the dribble. Whereas DJJ was so good about stymieing people who were effective at taking the ball to the rack. He was just a very good, I hate the phrase point of attack defender is way overused in basketball, but it's just like the guy that can guard the guy who could dribble. Like for years, the best the Mavericks had was Dorian Finney-Smith, who was fine. But and so I'm going to be looking forward to seeing the Suns game because they have more guys who are effective off of the attack, and we'll see them get to play more. Grimes is going to they kind of remind me of like a wrestling tag team where one guy's like kind of the thunder and the other's the lightning because Grimes is a little quicker. I think Marshall is a hoss. Like he's just built like a fire hydrant. And so I think he's going to be the guy you use when you need a stronger defender. So I'm going to be curious to see how they do, but I have confidence in both of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I had thought we were going to take out Klay Thompson when we needed defense, but Klay Thompson, that I saw. He played a lot of really great defense tonight. I was thrilled to see that. I'll make one last point. You mentioned Maxey a second ago. There was a point in the game where I saw him score and went, Luka, yes!
No, it was Maxey.
It was Maxey. He looked so confident and smooth.
Was it that left corner three that he took? Kind of bottom of your screen?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that was good stuff, man.
We never saw that last year. We never saw him confident to the point where he looked fluid like that.
Yeah.
So maybe we're going to see something better from Maxey this year. I'm so excited. I'm just thrilled. I'm happy.
Good, man. Well, and Glenn, I'm just going to take the chance to plug Playback. Glenn joined the Playback stream that I hosted. I'm going to host a lot of those this year. It's fun to watch a little hoop in there, wasn't it? Even if you just did it for a few minutes.
Yeah, I discovered it in the fourth quarter, but I'll be on there a lot more this year. That was a lot of fun. That was great.
Hello, brother. All right, man. We'll see you next game, I hope.
Thanks, Kurt.
All right. Before I bring Matt on, I want to send a quick reminder. There is a pinned comment in the YouTube chat that should link you if you want to hop in here and share some of your takes. I'm going to bring on Matt next, who's been patiently waiting. Matt, how you doing?
Good. What's going on, Kurt? You doing
Welcome,
all right, man?
I'm doing, it couldn't be better. It's 10 o'clock. Well, we're going to finish this by 10:30, which means I'll have everything done and I'll get to go to bed by midnight. I couldn't be happier.
Amen, brother. Amen. Well, man, it looks like it's going to be a fun season. That's for dang sure, even though I know it's just San Antonio. But
Look, man, you look within my age range. And frankly, the Spurs have been a thorn in a significant portion of my life, and nothing feels better than beating the shit out of the Spurs. It's great.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Even though, they did Dirk so right on the way out.
That's true.
Yeah, I appreciated that, but I, in general, hate the Spurs. So, okay, so I got a couple notes here. I'm not going to keep us forever.
No, that's fine.
I was surprised that Gaffer was starting. I get it. I know through the playoffs last year that was the deal, but I thought that Lively kind of worked himself as more of a complete center, and maybe I'm off on that, and he's got some more developing, but that kind of surprised me. And then Klay Thompson steals. I know it's San Antonio, and they don't have a whole lot of scoring, but I think if that dude shows up and is anywhere close to the type of defender he used to be, I think we're going to have a fun season. Anyway,
I'm not sure what to expect from him on the defensive end. My expectations are going to be low because lateral, like anybody that's had any sort of lower extremity problem in their life, like you just lose mobility, you lose burst.
Yes.
And he's torn both his ACL and his Achilles. So I feel like any defense would be a healthy bonus.
I agree. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder about that. And I heard him talking about his work ethic. So I think he's the right kind of guy. So anyway, overall, I mean, I thought our defense looked good. I'm excited to see Gafford and Lively, for a full season, what we can do, and then I thought I noticed that Jason Kidd took a timeout when we didn't have good defensive effort in the second half, and it's not something he's real famous for, is calling timeouts ever.
I thought he did a good job. It's always fun to second guess a coach's decision making, and that said, I liked what happened tonight. I did.
Yep.
So.
Yep. I thought it was good. I'm excited to see everybody. I'm excited to see some more of the deeper roster at times play a little bit better, but I'm just glad that the season is finally here. So
that's right, man.
That's all I got, Kurt.
Matt, thanks for joining.
All right, man.
All right, talk soon.
Okay.
All right, last person we got waiting is Micah. If anybody else wants to join, we'll bring them on after Micah. Otherwise, we'll close out with a pretty quick Mavs party because I think we all just enjoyed beating the Spurs. Micah, long time no talk. What is happening, my friend?
What's happening, Kirk? Well, the thing we have in common is I'm a Chiefs fan and Mavs fan, so things are great, undefeated and in both sides. So, how's life treating you?
Life's treating me well. Do you know who I think would be a very good defensive rebounder? DeAndre Hopkins. Okay? I bet he could grab a few rebounds the way he grabs the ball out of the air and will be for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. That will be fun. Because, when they get, God, that is crazy weapons. When they get really situated, because, I'm a UT fan, too, so I'm loving what I'm seeing from Worthy. So, good God, man, that's too many weapons. How do you mess with that?
What do you think of the game tonight? What are your basketball thoughts? Let's hear them.
Basketball thoughts. I am impressed by what I'm seeing on Klay defensively, especially because of what everybody said about him. And I agree with you. He may not have the lateral quickness, but at the same time, I felt like in the finals, our problem wasn't quickness, it was size. As quick as DJJ was, I don't feel like he had enough size to deal with the 1-2 punch of either players. That's just my opinion.
Nope, I muted myself. Sure. No, I think you're right. I think you make good points. Was there anything that frustrated you about this one? Because I really don't have any complaints.
I don't have any complaints. I love what I've seen from everybody. And it's just the last time we were talking about worrying about if Gafford or Lively is starting. I hate to agree with Reggie because he's a lot of the time ridiculous, but I look at both of them as one player, right? You're looking at their combined stats, not as much as who's starting or who's finishing.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it either. I think they'll kick this sort of stuff off as the season goes. So we'll be in a better place with more games under your belt. And it's one of the things I just am going to keep saying until about game 20 is that it's a long season. Guys have plenty of chances to prove themselves, and Kid has plenty of time to suss out the rotations. You there, there we go. There he is.
We got a good enough roster to where I don't think the Kid experiments are going to hurt us too much.
I hear you.
So that is one good thing.
Well, man, thanks for joining the show. Talk to you on Sunday night or Saturday night, maybe.
Definitely. See
All
you
right,
then,
man.
Kirk.
Have a good one.
night, brother.
You too. All right, calling in from Australia, everyone's favorite Oklahoma City Thunder hater, Mr. Green. What's going on, brother?
How are you, mate?
I'm good. What you thinking tonight or today? I guess for you. How you doing?
Yeah, look, today will be a good day. A lot better than when we suffer through a loss. Man, the open threes for Klay are going to be comedy this year. Absolute comedy. That one where he had to take the bounce and Luka was almost in a stance at the free throw line on defense, that was incredible. Looks good, man. Looks good. I'm really happy for Klay, and I reckon he might crack a smile before the end of the year on the court.
I think the post game with him was kind of emotional. Like he seemed just genuinely delighted, and I you gotta love that.
Man, it's tough, Kirk. I mean, when was the last time you worked for a company for 10 years and then changed jobs?
I know. I mean,
that situation in your life.
I have. It's even if it's work, you tie yourself to a lot of your work, even if you don't want to, and it absolutely hurts. I can't imagine what it feels like to. And I know enough about the situation from reporters and stuff offhand and things that were and weren't reported. He didn't handle himself the best, but he seems so dead set on making a fresh right start that you can't help but want to root for him to perform well, not just because the Mavericks need it, just because he seems so genuinely invested in doing well. And that's really cool to see.
I think a lot's been said that he loves basketball. Mm-hmm. He obviously loves teamwork, camaraderie, and all that. And leaving Golden State, man, must be the hardest thing he's ever done in his life. And to see him come into the AAC and make such a good first impression, man, was brilliant. I was so happy for him. Not so impressed with a few of the other new guys that we got on the team, but it'll come around. I think Grimes is just, there was a couple of plays there where I thought, Klay was open when Grimes had the ball, and he's just so hell-bent on getting more than one bucket. So that'll iron itself out. But, man, Lively is a monster. I don't like what Kidd is going to have to do to keep these guys happy. I mean, can you imagine the conversation between Kidd and Lively about him not starting tonight? It's like, look, man, we've got this dude. He's been in the league a long time, and, you wouldn't want to get pushed out of your starting spot. All those conversations must be so difficult. But, man, he is a fucking monster. He is so good. 6 assists. Man, see that assist to Najee Marshall that he had? His passing is so good, and I still worry about the ball getting knocked out of his hands when they give him that opportunity to play up at the foul line and get the ball. But, mate, he's playing well, and looks like it's going to be a good season, Kirk. Looks like it's going to be a good season.
I just always like starting the year with a win. Just it's validating, even if it shouldn't be, because it's just one game out of 82. But after getting beat so bad in the finals and going out kind of rather sad, that taste just sort of lingers. And then the offseason happens. The offseason is a lot of hope, a lot of projection, and then to see elements of that projection actually play itself out in the first game, it's nice. It's nice. The Mavericks, we keep talking about this. The Mavericks got to rack up wins, and every game has to matter, and I'm very pleased that tonight was good.
Yeah, the first half was pretty ordinary, but you would expect that. But, I heard someone say the other day that, Luka had this calf injury. I mean, man, I don't think he did. I think he probably was bothered, and then it gave them an out. Because he doesn't like playing in shit that doesn't matter. Exactly. And I think that's what he told him. He said, look, man, what do you want me to do? You want me to go out there and bust my ass for something that doesn't matter and then get a real injury? It's like all-star games, mate. He's just not interested. It's not interested. And I don't think there was an injury at all. But I think that he suffered in the first half because of his lack of conditioning and not being out there running around. Practices, as I say, practices aren't the same as games. But it was good to see him find his stroke again, because it was looking pretty shocking. What was he, like 4-14?
He was so bad, and the shots were all so short. And like, what does a short shot tell you? That you're tired. Yeah, you don't have legs, and so that was really good to see him like find the legs.
Yeah, and it was good to see. I think it was PJ knocked that shot in with one of Luka's ridiculous passes that I'm sure will get clipped, and we'll see on X in the next half hour or so. But that behind the back, under the ring, flicked it out for the 3-pointer. Man, he's ludicrous. That dude,
I clipped that one.
Really
I'm trying this new thing not new generally, but new for me. This playback in-game kind of commentary thing. Let you watch. I clipped that and posted it on social as it happened, because I'm just like talking to myself watching, and it's just like me reacting like a lunatic as the shot goes in, because it's just like, how often does anyone ever make those? Luka makes these crazy passes, and they never seem to make his amazing shots. And it's like that one is, yay, finally went in. So.
Oh man, so let me get this right. You're hosting the game and talking shit so we can hear it. Is that how it's working?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, I was by myself tonight, but 2 other guys from Mavs Moneyball are going to try to join me regularly. And then I can also do this during the thing where it's like, if you're watching, you can come on too and talk. Like, it's supposed to be interactive. Like, the whole goal of the thing is basically like watching the game at a sports bar. So, yeah.
You're a madman, Kirk. You really are. But we all appreciate what you do, mate.
They incentivized me just enough to where I talked about it with my wife, and she's like, you kind of can't afford not to do it because you're already watching the game. And because they pay me a little bit to do it, and it's like, fuck. Okay, let's try this one more thing. But at least those aren't recorded. Those are just streamed.
How many peeps did you have in there watching it with you?
I think we gained 40 members tonight that'll get notified. And then I think there was you could tell there's people dropping in and out of the room. It's just like the YouTube thing where it's like people who hover in and out. And the general appeal is if you have League Pass, you can hook your League Pass up to it, and we're watching it at the same time. That's like the broad, the big sell. But what ends up happening is it just kind of ends up being a live chat room for about 80% of the people who want to have a second screen experience instead of listening to Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
So,
well, you won't get me in there when Follow was on, mate. I'd rather listen to him, and if it's a
don't blame you.
Than have you ruining me day,
No, that's fine. Right, I'll ruin your day after.
Yeah, exactly.
Like now. That's right. That's right. No, I totally understand. Well, man, thank you so much for hopping on here. What else you got before we get out of here?
No, that's it, mate. 1-0, undefeated. We should just end the season now, mate. Go straight to the playoffs.
All right, man. We'll talk soon. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, Kirk. See you, buddy.
Bye, guys. Okay, so we're going to close out here. We have a lot of stuff coming up at the Mavs Moneyball. I'm thinking I've already seen 5 notifications. Great stuff from the Mavs Moneyball team. You should hop in there and check and see what's going on. Into tomorrow morning, we will probably have at least 3 or 4 post-game articles. Everyone, thank you so much for hanging out and spending time with me. We appreciate all of your attention because you have a lot of choices in the Mavs sphere. It's a great time being a Mavs fan, and we hope you enjoy yourselves. And everybody be good. We'll talk to you on Saturday night. Go Mavs.